Hello and welcome to the Book Refuge. My name is Jen. Today we're doing a book tag. And the reason I have this little Swiffer duster is we're doing the spring cleaning book tag. This was originally done by Book Syrup back in 2016. And today it is a beautiful spring day and I'm excited to get a little cleaning done. Not right now because I am, dressed a little too nice, but I'll get to it. I'll get to the cleaning, right? But no. Anyway, I haven't done a book tag in a while, and I stumbled across this one on the Peruse Projects channel, and then I saw that it was originally done back in 2016, and I was like, I like these lists of questions. They were a little challenging as well as pretty interesting, so I thought I would dive into it. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I'll put this away, even though I probably could dust my bookshelves, but anyway. All right, so number 1. The struggle to get started. A series or book that was a struggle to begin because of its size. When you want to clean and you just are overwhelmed by how much there is because you've been a pigsty all winter long. Yeah. For me, I had to think about this because large books don't really scare me. They usually make me excited because I'm like, ooh, there's going to be lots of characters. There's going to be lots of stuff going on. I'm so excited. But I decided to take it as a whole and think of which series was just so big in and of itself that it frightened me a little bit. And that would be Outlander Saga series book stops. I'm holding up the 5th one here. This is The Fiery Cross, because this is when it started to get scary. I'll just step aside here for a second and let you see how large they were. The first 2 or 3, not too bad, but then they started to look like this, and I was like, how am I going to finish these? But I did, and now I'm impatiently waiting, like everyone else, for book number 9 to come out. Hopefully they'll be done before I'm an old maid. Who knows? Number 2, cleaning out the closet, a book series or book that you would like to unhaul. So this was actually a pretty easy one for me. In fact, I'm really close to actually unhauling these, and that is the Girl of Fire and Thorns trilogy. One of my favorite booksellers at Barnes & Noble just loves this trilogy, so she pushed it at me a few times, and I was like, what the hey, I'll buy all 3 of them. And I just cannot get into it. It had a lot of promise. Like, it's kind of set in a Hispanic setup, just with what the names are and their customs and how they go about things. And I found that fascinating because I haven't read a lot of Hispanic set novels, so that was so cool. But the main character, I just don't like her. I'm not even going to go into what it's about because I'm trying to just keep this tag going, but I'm just not getting into it. I'm probably going to give it one more try and then give up. And I'm substantially into the first book, and I just keep hitting a wall with it, and I can't get past. So probably going to unhaul these. You might see that in a video coming soon. Number 3, opening windows and letting the fresh air in, a series or book that was refreshing. This, I actually went back in time and thought about a book that at the time was just the coolest new thing I had read. And for me, that was Graceling by Kristen Kishore. I thought the premise of it was really cool at the time. Again, since then I've read things that are like this novel. But the main character, Katsa, she's so spunky and good-hearted, and she has a affliction / special power that is super cool, and it just kept growing and changing as throughout the book. Like, she thought it was one thing, and then as she learns more, it's something else as she goes along. This is a novel I've shared with many friends through the years. It was actually shared with me by one of my friends, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I went through several copies of it at this point because it's amazing. But anyway, yeah, Graceling by Kristen Kishore. I love this book, and at the time it was really refreshing to me. I just hadn't read anything quite like it. Even though the subject matter is pretty dark, there's some crazy things, it was fascinating as I went through it, so loved it. Okay, number 4, Washing Out Stains, a book where you want to rewrite a specific scene. This was actually really easy for me because I just read this novel and there's a certain scene in it that I'll hint around it when I show you. So it was Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Lani Taylor, which I'm currently on the 2nd book. I'm almost done. I'm going to finish it today and start on Dreams of God and Monsters. But there's a scene near the end when everything gets revealed to our main character, some things about her love interest, and I hated that scene. And I would rewrite it. This is hard without spoilers, so spoilers for this book, I'm warning you right now. Just skip ahead like a minute to the next one. I don't like that Carew didn't talk things through with Akava just a little bit more. Again, I know that it's a novel, and if there wasn't this conflict, the 2nd book wouldn't be as good as it is, but this is my wish list. This is what I want, and I just felt that for all the emotions and everything that was coming back to Carew and how it was getting explained to her, that she should have given Akava a little more benefit of the doubt, I guess, because he just had been through something awful too, and like he needed some time to talk through it with her, and he knew what happened was wrong. Like, he knew that. So anyway, hopefully that wasn't too spoilery or whatever, but if I could rewrite a scene currently, that's what I would choose because I was so heartbroken about it. So number 5, Throwing Out Knick-knacks, a book series that seemed unnecessary. This was like, there was a few super hard ones in this, and this one was very hard for me because I don't think any book series is really unnecessary. Like, if the author felt that it was a story they wanted to tell, then it's a story worth telling. But for me, this series didn't really add anything that great to my favorite characters, so that's why I'm picking it. And that would be the graphic novels Wires and Nerve Gone Rogue by Marissa Meyer. These are 2 books that have to do with the Lunar Chronicles. They take place after winter, but before the 2nd epilogues that she wrote in Stars Above. And I just felt that it was an unnecessary conflict that was happening. And I don't like what it showed us about a couple of our main characters that then was ignored in the 2nd epilogue that she wrote. So it was kind of like, well, why'd you put these characters through this? And then nobody talks about what happened when they meet up about it later. So I don't know. I just didn't really like it that much. And also some of the characters looked weird, but that's just happens in graphic novels, I know. Number 6, Polishing the Doorknobs, a book or series that had a smooth finish. This again was hard because a lot of the books I read, the endings are very dramatic and they're not that smooth for me. So I picked a novel that I haven't heard enough about since it came out, and I picked The Chemist by Stephenie Meyer. I really enjoyed this book. It was one of those where like she hardly was talking about that it was coming out, so I only found out about it like a month beforehand. And so I like had no idea what to expect. There was no way to really look up anything about it or like dive into it before you got it. And I thought the story was so good, and I thought how she wrapped it up was really clever. This was one of her, it's a standalone book, and I really enjoyed my time reading it. I thought it was a cool story, and I feel that the ending was really really nice. Like, it just wrapped things up in a good yet realistic way. So that's what I would call smooth. I don't know if that's what you would call smooth, but that's what I call smooth. Number 7 is Reaching to Dust the Fan. Name a book series or book that was just trying too hard. This also was difficult, but then when I thought about it, I was like, wait, it's not. The Matched Trilogy by Ali Condi. The first novel in this series I thought was so interesting. It was a cool retelling of The Giver mixed with a little bit of, like, I don't even know, with A Handmaid's Tale a little bit, maybe? I don't know. But I love the idea of it. It's that when you're 18 years old or 16, I don't know, one of those, you find out who is set up to be your match, who you're going to marry. And then a couple years later, you'll get married to that person, and then it goes on and on. So it has that part of like, you don't get to pick who you married to, and then it's also decided the day that you will die. So like, you die on a certain birthday and you have no choice. So they really like pick things for you, and it had such promise, but it really went off the rails in the second and third book. And the things that it was trying to say, I was like, what is even your moral? Like, what is even the point of this? So for me, it just really kind of flew off the handle, and she started such a great story, and then it just, woo. So for me, this was a series that was definitely trying too hard and got it wrong in the end. And finally, the satisfying end of spring cleaning. So a book that was tiring yet satisfying when you finished the book or the series. And for me, that was The Fallen Kingdoms saga by Morgan Rhodes. This was a story that was difficult for me to start, and I really struggled through the first 2 books. But I had already bought the first 4, and I was like, Jen Marshall, you are finishing these because you started them and you paid for them all and you're going to read them. But by the end of the second book, going into the third, like, I was hooked. And I read this whole series at the beginning of the year, like the first book took me a long time, but once I was like rolling, I finished the series very quickly, and I was so satisfied by the end. Like, I feel like there was a good amount of lessons learned and damage done, and I'm really excited about how the kingdom is set up going forward. And Morgan said that someday she'll write some more, which I am all for. I would love to hear how things are going, because there were some great little tidbits dropped at the end. So this was a satisfying yet sometimes tiring series for me to read, but I loved it, and this is a series I want to reread. Now that I kind of know it, I would like to go back and see how the seeds were sown a little better. And then finally, number 9, looking forward to the next spring. So this is where I tag some people. So I'm actually prepared. I know who I'm tagging this time. I am tagging Hannah Books and Other Things. So Hannah, I think you'd be good at this. I'm tagging Bookish Breath. I'm tagging Murphy Napier, and I'm tagging Nettle Books. So I'd love to see if you guys do this. Please, comment on this if you've done it, or I throw this out to anyone else. I'm new on BookTube. I would love anyone to check out this tag. I'll put the original tag video in here by Book Syrup so that you can give her credit. But yeah, thanks so much, and I hope this inspires you to do some cleaning, and just have a wonderful spring. Love you.